Welcome to Block Time. So I'm down at the BTC Miami conference. It's on today and tomorrow. We've just at the end of the first day here. It's been a fantastic day. BTC Miami, I think, is the largest, certainly crypto conference in history. There's about 4,000 people here. Really exciting to see such a community, everyone getting together, talking about cryptocurrencies, talking about blockchain. And already today we've seen some really interesting talks. So this morning we saw a really good presentation by Ryan, CEO of Dash. They're the lead sponsor here, big presence. Really interesting to see what they're going to be developing over the next few months. Full disclosure, obviously I'm involved in Dash space, but I do think this is a really interesting technology, and we're going to see some very interesting developments over the next few months. We're also seeing a lot of ICO pitches. It's really interesting. There's some great companies that are pitching, but I do still feel that a lot of these companies are very early stage. We're seeing more and more companies go down the ICO route, but these companies are not as mature as the companies that we would normally see raising money. You know, if we think of companies typically raising money in the private market, it's generally a lot more developed, a lot more disclosure, a lot more mature. Some of these ICO projects are interesting, but I feel there's still a lot of information missing from the projects that's preventing me from taking a position in those projects. Very interesting to see a panel on regulation. Again, a lot of speculation on what the SEC is going to be coming out with this year. I think we're going to continue to see that trend of tokens and mainstream securities coming closer together. Ultimately, right now, tokens and shares are very much two different things, but over time we're going to start to see that delta get much smaller, and ultimately we're going to start to see securitized tokens. So I think this year we could start to see that. It's a long shot, but we're certainly moving in the direction of tokens being recognized as securities, and there was a lot of talk about that on the securities regulation panel today. We've seen a number of comments coming out of some of the research labs that have been presenting today. Again, really interesting. It's something that I fully agree with. We're seeing very interesting developments in the blockchain space, but we're not seeing that mainstream adoption that we've been looking for the last couple of years. Now, this is a challenge in the space. Blockchain companies are developing amazing technologies, but we're not quite at the stage where those technologies are being adopted, whether it's by major banks, whether it's by consumers directly. And I think we've been stuck in this hole for about the last year. And hopefully in 2018, we're going to start to see some of these companies cross the chasm and actually launch real commercial products or have true utility tokens that are actually being used in the marketplace. Finally, wrapping up the day, a really interesting presentation by the CEO of Overstock. Really big fan of what they've been doing. They were one of the first major companies to start investing, getting involved in the blockchain space. They also have a big investment in a platform called T0, which is looking to tokenize securities. They're getting very close to launching. I think that's going to be a very interesting project to follow, especially with some of the things they're planning, reducing a lot of the issues and especially the fraud that we're seeing in the security space.